So I ran the Adventure League module Fire, Ash, and Ruin, and I picked this one for a couple reasons. I picked it because I liked the fact that there's a really bad guy in this. There's a Baelor, just like from Lord of the Rings, with Gandalf fought, in the Mines of Moria. And also, I like that there's a dragon in it. So there's a red dragon. I just happen to have a red dragon figurine, so like I was able to pull out the red dragon. And in the module, I adapted the module. In the module, it says that there is a female red dragon who is angry because her child has been kidnapped. And in the module, spoilers, by the way, if you're going to run this module or play this module, if you're going to play this module, there's spoilers. So be aware of that. If you're going to run this module, well, you want that because you want to know what's in the module. So, or you've already read it, and it's available on the DM's Guild. But yeah, so in the module, the child of the dragon, the wormling, has been killed, and I thought, okay, well, I'm running this like 2 days after Valentine's Day. I'm sorry, the day after Valentine's Day. And I thought, all right, I want a romantic connection. So I made the dragon on the outside that the characters are going to meet and encounter the male dragon, a male red dragon, and his mate has been kidnapped. All right. And so that's the love, right? The Valentine's Day. It's a rescue mission. They have an option. I mean, that's not their primary objective, but there is an option for them to rescue the female dragon, and then the two dragons reunite, and they can also help to defeat the devil, right? The demon that's the big baddie in here, and help the characters. So that's their incentive to help, because they're going to get help in return. Here's the thing that I did. I added some flavor to this mission, because the mission's supposed to start out with the characters just walking across a field of ash, and then they encounter the dragon. And I thought, but this takes place on Chult, right? From like the Tomb of Annihilation book. And one of the things that's awesome about Chult is that there are dinosaurs on Chult, right? This jungle island with dinosaurs. And I thought, well, I can't run this without dinosaurs. I mean, I have these little dinosaur figurines and everything, so a T-Rex has to show up. I got to use my dinosaur toys. So I did that. What I did was I had this. The story started. There were 5 players, and the story starts with the 5 players around a table with 2 NPCs that are giving them the mission, and they're from the Order of the Gauntlet. And what they want is they want the demon that's in the pit gone, because it's too close to the port city of Nyazaru, or whatever it's called. I called it Nazgul because I can remember that name, and the characters know Lord of the Rings, and so they can remember that name as well. But anyway, that's just an abbreviation that I did, so I hope that helps somebody out there if they're running missions. Rename them, reskin them, So I did that, and then so I had a Captain Renault. I made up this character. I stole the name from Casablanca, but I did a French accent. You are with the Order of the Gauntlet, and we want you to reconsecrate the ground in this buried inner sanctum of a fire giant temple where we believe there is a demon living, and we want you to take care of that. So, and then I said, and here's the second, there's 2 NPCs. The other one was in Italian, and I made him Father Montoya. And so they talked to Father Montoya, who says, you must go into the inner sanctum and cast the Hallow spell. And they're like, Hallow spell? And I'm like, Hallow, as in, hello, my name is Montoya. So they got the Princess Bride joke. But yes, so Hallow, as in Hallow, to reconsecrate the land and prevent and seal basically what's happening is the abyssal plane is intersecting with the material plane. So if they hallow the ground, they can seal the ground, and so that's their one mission. Then their other mission is to learn the name of the demon, the true name of the demon in the lore. And if they do, they can use a command spell. And the third thing is either kill the demon or banish the demon, right? So they do end up banishing the demon, which is good, because if they kill the demon, one of the special traits of this Bay lore is what the monster is. If you want to look it up in the monsters manual, it explodes, so it's going to do a lot of damage to the player characters. But I'm way ahead of myself if they do kill it. But anyway, so here's what happens. So the characters accept. I let them go into town. They buy like a grappling hook. One of them, the other one is a wizard, and he's got level 6 spells, and he wants to buy a spell scroll that's like level 6, and I'm like, nah, there's nothing here like that. I thought they were going to buy like healing potions and things of that nature. So I said, you can buy magical items up to level 2 or something like that. Or, yeah, level 2. And he was a little disappointed by that. But, I'm not going to like overpower these guys. He's already got like, great spells. In fact, later you'll see. So they go, they set out across the jungle to get to the land of fire, of ash and smoke. Oh, and that's the other thing. It was Valentine's Day, but it was also Ash Wednesday, so it was appropriate that there were ashes in this mission and the title of the mission. So they're crossing the jungle, and as they're doing that, they come across. They're hacking their way through the brush. There's no real trail or anything, but then every once in a while they do find like what seems to be a trail for a short distance, like 20 yards or so. And so they'll follow that, and they'll find a clearing, and then there'll be another hacking through the jungle, and then they'll find another trail. And they were smart enough to start to examine the trail and realize that because the dragon had been mentioned in the adventure, that they start thinking, okay, this is what it was. These were like scorch marks of like the dragon hunting in this area. So they, I give them the chance to examine the ground and do some perception checks, investigation checks. It's always nice to like ease into an adventure and let the character see which characters are going to do which kinds of checks, because they're all different, right? There was a druid, a ranger, there was a wizard, a fighter, a barbarian. So there were 5, and it was nice. They were all different classes, so it was great. So one of the things I did was I added dinosaurs because it's Chult, right? So they come across these dinosaurs in a clearing, and there's 3 different types. There's a Triceratops. There's I think I did an Allosaurus, and then comes crashing through a T-Rex who's going to attack one of the 2 of them and have his lunch. And so, or second breakfast, I think it was. It was about that time of day. And then the characters are like divided. The ranger takes a shot because he's got like marksman, I think it is. He had the marksman feat. So he tries to do a called shot to the dinosaur's neck, and he hits the T-Rex's neck. But then the wizard goes next, and he has speak with animals. So he tries to talk to the T-Rex, and he tries to tell the T-Rex, hey, that thing in your neck looks really bad. And it did like 30-some points of damage. So the T-Rex was hurting, and the T-Rex was like, come on, man, what are you doing? I'm just trying to eat breakfast. And so they had part of the party wanted to kill the T-Rex, and the other half, the wizard wanted to try to befriend it. So there was this great conversation going on while half of the party's attacking the T-Rex, and the wizard's like, oh, just come with me, it'll be fine. And the T-Rex like, call off your boys, and this really hurts. And why are you doing this? So like they knock it to the ground finally, and the wizard's like, okay, well, it's not going very well, so I'm going to have to like cast Fireball. So he casts Fireball. And the T-Rex is like, why? And it's lying on the ground. And so anyway, the wizard in his pursuit of trying to woo this T-Rex enters the clearing and becomes confronted by the Triceratops, who charges, gores him, and so the fighter he has a double axe, great axe, and he like slices this big chunk of meat out of the side of the T-Rex. When it finally becomes not the T-Rex, the Triceratops, so he's basically filleting this thing. Its ribs are exposed now. And the druid is studying the Allosaurus. It's getting the heck out of there because he wants to be able to turn into one, and it has a challenge rating of 2, so he will be able to become that. And I wanted somebody to do that. I really wanted because I play a druid in a different campaign, and on Adventure League nights, and you have to have seen the animal that you're turning into, and I haven't seen an Allosaurus yet, so I can't do that, even though I could technically do it. My character's level is high enough. He's never experienced one, so you have to have seen it in order to turn into it. But anyway, so I'm glad that happened for the druid, and I'm sure he was glad too. That was a good gift to him. But the wizard's turn comes up, and he casts Disintegrate, and that's an incredible spell. So Disintegrate, he casts Disintegrate, and this poor Triceratops, what we decided was it disintegrates everything except the bones. So all the flesh disappears off this Triceratops. The skeleton just kind of goes and crunches to the ground. And then they go over, they finish off, the fighter finishes off, there's like 9 hit points left in the T-Rex. And the fighter is a big dwarf, and he like sleeper holds the T-Rex. It chokes him out, basically. It's saying like, it's gonna be okay, just relax. It's just the silliest thing. But during the commotion, they forgot about the dragon, so it's attracted the attention of the dragon. And the fighter had a familiar. It was not a crow, a raven. And the raven was flying around, and we all forgot about the raven. And all of a sudden, the raven's like, and I said, does it speak to you? Like, can you hear it? Or is it like telepathic or what? And he's like, oh no, I can understand its language. And the raven's like, basically, dragon, and it's flying back to its master. And this dragon comes in, it swoops around. And basically it sees like how powerful these adventurers are. So from the dragon's point of view, it's thinking to itself, I need help. I need to help saving my mate, so I'm going to recruit these puny but powerful adventurers to help me. So the dragon swoops down and says, hey, if you promise not to hurt me, I'll land and we can talk. So they do. And they figure out that, even though it's an adult red dragon, it's very powerful, and it's also technically chaotic evil. They're going to work with it. So in order to get to the land of fire, ice, fire, and smoke, it's going to be a long trek. And in the module, it talks about its exhaustion rolls, which I find boring, so I wasn't going to make them do that. But they immediately asked the dragon if they could ride on its back. And in the adventure guide, it does say that that's a possibility. But the dragon's like, as long as you don't tell anybody about this indignation, because apparently that's not cool to like carry small creatures on your back. If you're a dragon, you're a powerful dragon, shouldn't be doing that. So he says, as long as nobody finds out, I'll do it. So so they do. So they get to fly an aerial view of the lands, which I described, and I said, it's really hot here. Like it was hot in the port town. It was humid and hot, and it was 90 degrees at 7 a.m. when you set out on this journey. But now you're going over this land of fire and ash, smoldering, You can feel heat coming from both sides now, the sky, the sun, the bright sun, and now the land. And it actually gets more intense coming from the land, radiating out of the pit that you go to, which is on fire. And in the pit, there's this sunken or some like kind of half-buried temple. And it was the temple of fire giant wizards. And the dragon tells them that much. And he also tells them that there's this hole that's 5 feet across. And they could fit in, but he can't fit in because he's too big. And his name's Sindrith. And his mate's name is Vastonash. And Vastonash is inside and possibly going to be sacrificed to this demon. And he needs help because he can't get in there. So if they do something inside, he'll be able to, come to their aid at the right moment. So the characters decide they're going to go down this lava tube, right? It's just this 5-foot diameter hole in the ground. As they descend, they reach magical darkness. It's written in the module. And that posed them a little bit of a problem. They didn't quite figure it out. I presented it as, it's dark, but then it's really dark. Like you have dark vision, it should be less dark than it is. And at one point I said, you kind of like put your hand out and like it disappears. Like you can see up to your wrist. You move back and forth. There seems to be a point where like there's total darkness. So the wizard thinks it's a false wall, which is, relatively good assumption. But what it is just like a sphere of magical darkness. So they try to cast Dispel Magic, which I didn't let them succeed on that. Maybe I should have, but I said, it's probably higher power magic than that. And also there's the room that they enter into, or one of the rooms that's in the module, but it was the very first room I had them enter into. There's magical flame. There's this blue flame. And Immalor, the demon that's in the pit, is called Immalor, the keeper of the blue flame, or lord of the blue flame. So I wanted to accentuate that blue flame. So the flame is magical. They use a torch. They light a torch. Now they can see with their magical blue flame torch. But regular light doesn't. But what they could have done is they could have just cast the light spell, and that would have worked according to the module. But nobody thought to do that. People forget about the light spell. Anyway, so this fountain of magical fire and light is in the middle of the room. They approach it to investigate, and I didn't give them a chance. I just like the idea of a shadow demon, so I tell them that one of their shadows becomes disembodied from them. They no longer have a shadow, and the shadow is standing right next to them. And so they get creeped out by that. They attack, and they should, because it was going to attack them. And the shadow demon wants to create more, so it needs to pull these characters towards the light. And then their shadows, the character shadows, will become shadow demons as well. Also, I threw a Quasit in there. And a Quasit is basically like Salacious Crumb from Return of the Jedi. The little pet that Jabba the Hutt has. It's like, like that kind of face with like a kind of praying mantis body. And it can appear out of nowhere. And once a day, it can use a scare tactic. So I was going to try to scare the barbarian to recoil from it and go into the light so that the barbarian shadow would manifest as a shadow demon. But what happened instead was that didn't work. He succeeded on his wisdom saving throw. So he didn't get scared. And so what happened was the fighter just blindly ran to the aid of the ranger, whose shadow was now a shadow demon. And he ran basically right up to the fire. And so his shadow becomes a shadow demon. So they had two and a Quasit to fight. The Quasit didn't stand a chance. It has like 7 hit points. It's a tiny little thing. And he got splattered. And then they were able to shoot the shadow demons and pierce them. But it has resistance to piercing damage. So what I said was, arrow goes through it, it slows as it goes through it, and you feel like, you swing your sword at it when it goes through, you feel like you should have done more damage than you did. So they kind of got the idea of resistance that way. So I thought that was a useful way to describe it. Now, they kill off the shadow demon in the closet, the 2 shadow demons in the closet. And then I have one of them, I'm sorry, it's the druid, he casts create fire or create water. So a 30 foot cube of water just falls on the blue flame. So I have the blue flame go out and the spirit of the fire giant come up. And I was going to have another combat in the next room before they get to the big boss fight. But at this point, somebody reminded me there was only an hour left. So we hurried it along. So what I did was I had the fire giant appear in the middle of the blue flame or where it was, and explained to them that, in the next room, if they would free them, he would be able to remove the spell that's guarding the temple, basically the defenses of the temple. And also they would be able to, he and his brothers would be able to no longer be trapped in this form of the fire elemental and go into the afterlife. And that there are, he had witnessed lesser demons torturing and sacrificing creatures and intelligent beings to the demons in the next room. So they were ready to go. And he said, wait, and they were like, can you give us, somebody said, I think it was the barbarian said something like, can you give us anything to help us? And so I said, yes. And then that's the hook right here. At the end of Adventure League, the characters usually get a reward. So I gave them this at that point, the Kaharuan Fork, which is a +3 pike. And it's forged of black pitted iron haft of the haft of this double tined pike. So it's a big fork, right? Is wrapped in supple hide, and the supple hide of a young red dragon. Well, that was the dragon that was sacrificed. It was going to be in the module, the kid, but I didn't explain that. And wisps of black smoke stream from a glowing red stone at the butt of the weapon, only to drift away on an unseen breeze. This is a very rare weapon, and like I said, it's +3. So +3 to hit, +3 damage. Pike. So the barbarian was very excited about that because he didn't have a magical weapon. And everyone else seemed to. The fighter did. So he took it. And now at the end of eventually everybody gets whatever loot there is left, that the exact copy. So but for the purposes of the adventure, only one of them can wield it. So he was wielding that, and he said, "I never thought I'd put down my great axe, but I think I have my new weapon of choice." And so that was cool. So the barbarian was happy. So anyway, they go into the next room and they see a red dragon bound and being ready to be sacrificed. There's chanting going on. There's a magical ritual going on. There are 3 Balguras there, and I had 3. I didn't bring them, but there are 3 gorilla, zoo gorilla figurines around this red dragon in the middle, and laying down. And they're demons, but they look like apes, gorillas, whatever. So the druid casts Dispel Magic. So and then I had this little figure of Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty, Disney character, and that's represented the big baddie, right? The Baelor, Imalor. So they go in the room and the ranger gets a sneak attack, and so he takes out one of the Balguras, I think he takes half of his hit points right on the first attack, and then the crow goes over and starts burning. It has a ember, or it has a stick that it had dipped in the blue flame, and it flies over and starts trying to burn the bonds of this half-conscious, agonized dragon that's laying on the ground. It's about to be sacrificed, and that's Vastonash. And then, so they all start attacking. And the Baylor gets off like an attack. He pulls somebody over with his whip, and it's a confused fight until they free the young, or they almost free the bound dragon, but at the critical moment, Sindrith, the dragon they met outside, crashes through the dome and comes to the aid of his beloved, and they have like a nice reunion, and that's the Valentine's Day thing. And then they turn and they are going to attack the Baylor, right? Immalor. So what happened was the druid turns into the Allosaurus, right? And then he also has a what was the spell? I forget, but he was able to teleport basically to above the Baylor and fall on him. So the fall damage didn't do much, but it knocked the Baylor prone, and that was key because the Baylor was going to be able to use its whip and it has a lightning sword and really do some damage. And anybody close to the Baylor at the end of its turn had to take fire damage because it's basically radiating fire. And it's immune to fire. So these red dragons, instead of being able to use their breath weapons against this Baylor, they jump on him, and now he's prone, and they're clawing at its back, right? He's face down. They're just clawing at him. Now, the Baylor did have an ability that's written in the script where it could teleport basically about 120 feet away. But I like that they got him down and they were all taking shots at him, and they cleared out the Balgura, and I gave them that option to really like wail on this thing. So they get to the point where it's got almost no hit points left, and they learn. The wizard does detect thoughts on the Baylor, and I rolled a wisdom saving throw for the Baylor, and he rolled like a 2. So he says, what's your real name? The wizard says, what's your real name? And out loud, the Baylor says, I will never tell you my real name, my true name, Lord of the Blue Flame. What did I say? Unstormi dormit. And I've been learning Latin via Duolingo, so I decided to throw a little bit of Latin in there. And Unz is the name of a character that a friend of mine, Andy, made up. So basically it says Unz sleeps at home was his last name, or his true name. Anyway, they use his true name, and as a result, they were allowed to give him a command. They can cast command on the Baylor without any reagents or ritual. So they can give him a one-word command. So the fighter does it, and the fighter says banish. And so it's banished into back to the abyssal plane. And then they cast the consecrate spell on the ground, or the Hado spell on the ground, and mission over. And we ended with 4 minutes left. So Sindrith and Vatunash, the red dragon couple, are have their eternal gratitude, and they find a treasure that's been buried in there. They originally demand to split it, but the wizard wins on a persuasion check against Sindrith, and Sindrith decides he's going to give him the whole amount. So each of the characters gets 60 gold pieces each, and they got this +3 pike each, and that was the end of the mission. Oh, and they got fame and status with the Order of the Gauntlet. They get to go to whatever rank number 2 is. And that's it. And so that's how I ran Fire, Ash, and Ruin. And that's a third of the module. There's another semi-boss character in there. That's the one that's actually torturing the kid dragon in the original Adventurer. There's a bunch of dretches that are basically zombies that the characters are supposed to get through easily and not even roll for. It's supposed to be a place where the abyss is coming into the material plane to give that sense, and it's kind of like the corpses in the Well of Souls in Raiders of the Lost Ark, that it kind of fall on Marion and she feels like they're attacking and they're not really attacking. I think that was the kind of motif they were going for there. There is this great, terrible monster, which I would love to use in another campaign. It's called a Chasme. I think that's how you pronounce it. Chasme. And basically, it's like a giant insect, and its drone, just the description of it, it has a big, like, proboscis, right? Like, it's like a big evil mosquito. And it says here, one of its characteristics, drone. The Chasme produces a horrid droning sound to which demons are immune. Any other creature starts its turn within 30 feet of it must succeed on a DC 12 Constitution saving throw or fall unconscious for 10 minutes. I mean, in combat, that's like an eternity. A creature that can't hear the drone automatically succeeds on the save. The effect on the creature ends if it takes damage or if another creature takes an action to splash it with holy water. So if you're going to run this Chasme, make Inigo Montoya at the beginning give the characters holy water. So that's, there's a way, this could go a bunch of different ways. I could run this like 5 different ways. And if you have enough time, you could do this scenario over 2 gameplay sessions in your like home league, or 3 maybe. So there's a lot here. So I know it's on DM's Guild. It's probably only a couple bucks. Probably worth checking out. But anyway, if you have any questions about it, put it in the comments below. I like doing these recaps. I like doing these kind of fireside chat kind of videos. So if you like it, let me know, so I'll keep on making them. Although I'll probably keep on making them anyway. I know a couple people responded to one of the last ones. So thanks for listening to me, and hope you guys subscribe to the channel, because that helps me a lot. And smashing a like always is helpful. And I was supposed to say that at the beginning of my videos instead of the end, but I never do, because I forget. Sometimes I do. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day with D&D out there, and let me know what you're up to. Let me know what your adventures are going on, because I had a lot of fun with this one. This is the first time I've run it. I'm going to run it again and again, and that way I'll have it memorized and it'll be in my pocket. So, see you on the next one. Take care.